How you doing? My name's Taylor McCluskey. I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live. Come check us out now.
Taylor, what's up, man? Congratulations with the new album, Justify. I love every single track on this record. I can't even pick a favorite because I love how, I think I'm more in love with your voice on this record, if anything.
Thank you.
Talk to me about the creative process of this album. Like, what really kickstarted that writing process?
Oh man, right before I was in Los Angeles and it hit, we had that record Star God that we're running with, the one before, and everything shut down. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? And so I got back to Montreal and everything was shut down. And I said to Glenn, I'm like, hey man, we gotta write and start creating right now. So Glenn Robinson and my producer, and so everything that was happening internally, I wanted to make sure that I was saying, but it had to match the tones of the guitars and it had to match the push. And I wanted a record to where, sometimes you're kind of encapsulated in your house. What would be the one record you want to put on to go for a very fast drive late at night? And I got that a lot from listening to a lot of the Queens of the Stone Age records and stuff growing up and everything, right? Like that freedom that you get when you leave Los Angeles or you're up north or wherever and you're on the road and you're by yourself, got a great sound system, boom, what do you want to hear? And I wanted to make sure that every single song, there was no pause, there's no break. Like I wanted to really drive it in home. But ultimately it was just what I was experiencing internally. And Justified essentially discusses all the things that you want to say to people, places and things, all the things that you want to do, you're able to say through the music, and you're able to connect through it. And there's no barriers and there's no walls. What you guys say matters. Obviously you can say it in all different types of ways, but you want to say it with love and respect. But that was kind of the essence of what I wanted to write, because I felt very trapped as an artist in the house. I have 2 kids and a wife, God bless them. But man, there's some tough days there where you're just like, I'm not able to connect with my fans on that stage. And that was really hard. So we said, okay, I will send you videos, Glenn, on this iPad Pro. Let's do some riffs, turn the amps on, get loud, get the mic there, and just start putting it down. And didn't really think about like, okay, well, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write this song, that song. It became this evolution of like, this is what I'm feeling right now. So if I can translate it from the guitar and get that melody really popping in there and those hooks, and then we can really work out that part. And so I sent it to Glenn, he would send notes back, and we start to do the arrangements and stuff on Pro Tools. And that was kind of the essence. And then there'd be these little breaks where like, oh, wear a mask indoors, get the vaccine, whatever. So as soon as that would happen, I would be the first one in line. Give me whatever shot. I don't give a shit. Sorry, don't give a stuff, whatever. And then I'll go down and meet him in the studio. He'd be like, okay, no one's here. Come down. And then I would sing, do vocal take, and then we'll get some guitars, and we use a Kemper because I didn't want to lug all my stuff over there. So we had all the Kemper. We dialed that in. Once we kind of had that, every single individual song kind of laid out, we'd send it to Zach St. John in Los Angeles and Andrew James, my guys, and they would do everything remotely and take it back, and we just mix. And we went through so many mixes, man. And we did mixes for Atmos mastering too, which we just like, hey, let's learn Atmos. This is great. That was really heavy. And then that kind of became the process. But we did about 25 songs through that 2-year thing. And then I was like, well, let's just release 10 and see what people think about it, So I'm really happy you like it.
With these whole 2 years of no shows, like it's hard to kind of picture the live setting, the performance setting when you're recording these songs. But I don't feel like you struggled with that during the recording process of this album. Like I still feel like you had that live aspect on it. So how challenging was it to still have that live aspect during the recording process, especially that energy?
A lot of long runs, push-ups, I have to get my body, it can't be cold. So, there's vocal exercises that I'll do before for 20 minutes, and on the way to the studio, I'll be doing scales and get my voice ready, because I know when I get in there, I'm going to have to bring it, because Glenn's going to be like, dude, you got to bring it. I'm like, absolutely. To be a rock and roller, you got to be badass on every single take, and you got to push yourself physically and mentally and spiritually in these songs, because you want to try to bring those audience members or those fans literally in the studio with you. You can give them that, for now, until you can show them when you're on that stage, and you can look at them right in the eye and you can see the sweat and all that stuff. So that was really important to me, is like, we would take one song at a time, maybe we'd push two in sessions, because I really wanted to spend time like really pushing myself to that next level of a rock and roll singer. Because when I started out, I was doing more like kind of Bob Dylan-y talky stuff, and that was kind of what I was into, Doorsy kind of thing. But as I started working with Glenn, he kind of opened up this heavier kind of push, and I love it, because I'm a huge nut when it comes to metal. And so I was like, well, okay, if we're going to put this on Spotify and we can't do shows right now, I mean, all right, well, I'll do some live stream stuff acoustically, but, and we did some full band stuff at some really beautiful studios in Montreal, but it still was missing the most important element of a rock show, is the human interaction. And that, it's just like, it's frustrating, but you still got to give it 110%, because that's what we do, So yeah, man.
Back to Glenn, like, how different has it been, with this record? Like, how different was that like writing process and that creative process been like? And you kind of mentioned that he kind of inspired you to do different things vocally with this record. How did that kind of go about?
Well, he'll come in with some ideas of, okay, well, we have these lyrics. I'll come with some lyrics. He'll come with some lyrics. We kind of just like throw it against the wall and see what sticks sometimes, But then he'll be like, all right, so I'm going to send you something, and don't freak out. I'm like, all right. So he'll sing something. He'll dial it into a certain way, and it's like, whoa, super rock opera sometimes. So what are you doing? This is totally out of my comfort zone. And he's like, that's the point. You got to push it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to push it. So, that for me, I love, like I said, I love challenges, and I love being like, okay, well, my instrument, if I'm not juicing it up or trying something new, or I just don't want to do the same type of record over and over and over again. Star God was a little bit more poppier. It was a little bit more, kind of, there's some country rock kind of thing in there. I was like, I want something fucking hard hitting and punching. So we're going to go for it. And I was listening to a lot of Queen. I was listening to a lot of Robert Plant. And, Brandon from Incubus, I was listening to some of his older stuff too, which is really cool. And just trying to say, okay, cool, man. Like, I can get there. I can definitely get there, but it's going to take a lot of practice, and just really homing in on those keys, because some of those keys are pretty nutty. And we were, like She Seeks Me's in C, and then we were into D, and then we go into E. Like, there's a lot of changes on the guitars throughout the record too. So yeah, we just, just got to lean into it and just get it done, get the job done, because that's what the song is requiring. That's what we do. Out
of these 10 tracks, which one do you feel like was the biggest challenge vocally for you?
Hit the Floor. And I don't know why I have it as track 10. I should have it as track 1. But
it was no question either.
It's nuts when you do it in like the live stream stuff we did, Planet and all that. I mean, you're like, oh, this one's coming up. And I was thinking like, oh, well, I'll be ready for it. My voice will be all warmed up and ready to go. But as soon as that intro guitar comes in, the drums come in, your part's coming up, like you're getting close to that hook. You're like, all right, here we go, man. Let's do it. And you just got to give it. You can't hold back, So yeah, that's probably the toughest one. And then Run, and the hook is pretty cool. And then She Seeks Me is great. I like those. But when you get into like Get Some More and Justified and Shame and Meltdown, like that's pretty like where I kind of hang out. I like to be, because it's like kind of like more methodical and sexy kind of thing. But take it to pedal the metal, man. You gotta go. We gotta go. So yeah.
What was that process for She Seeks Me like?
Wow. Like in relation to the
recording process, sorry.
Oh crap. That one was us in on the fourth floor of my house, and I was on an SM, I think 78 or something like that, and just belting it out. And in my house, we have this beautiful kind of, it's almost like a kind of not a dome, but it has a really nice acoustic flair on there. But he was like, "Go again, go again, go again," and we were just like hammering down the nail, making sure everything was locked. But there's times where you're going for it and you feel like your voice is about to die. And you're like, oh wait, let me use my diaphragm, because you want to get the grip on it. Like there's so much grip in the voice, and you don't want to put a decapitator on it. You want to try to get that realness of the throat, but you want to be careful. It's a weird balance because you got to be, anyways, technical stuff. But yeah, it's all there.
I feel like this record kind of taught you how to be more technical with your voice, and at the same time how to actually take care of your voice, just because there's so many different dynamics throughout this album.
Yeah, I quit smoking. That was a major one. Yeah, getting that out of there, because you need that lung, you need the oxygen, you need to go. Plus when you have a Les Paul hanging on you too, stabilizing you, and then ripping and roaring through that, it's this weird kind of like, what's going on here kind of thing. And so, but when it locks in and when the band's there and everything's dialed in and you're playing it for real, it's one of the best. It's one of the best records. I love this record alone is my favorite record I've ever played out of all of them. And I love my songs, but these songs together in that kind of cohesiveness is like, all right, let's put the safety belt on, put the helmet on, let's go kind of thing. And that's what I love about rock and roll music, Now
you mentioned you initially wrote 25 songs and then picked these 10 for the album. What was it about these 10 that you felt were appropriate? Like why did they feel like they were the album?
It's just the cohesiveness of the record itself. So Justified. So every song has a play to Justified. It's a justification of why she seeked me. You know what I mean? It's a justification of hitting the floor, of meltdown, of all the things I was feeling shame, through certain elements of my life, especially recently, of not being able to do my job fully, and there's a shame in that, because we were kind of like everything stopped and you can't do anything about it. And you feel, as a man, you feel shameful about that. You're like, well, I'm going to go chop down some wood at least, and so we could build a fire, and go, get a bow and arrow or something, right? Like you want to feel like you're doing something for your family, and that you're giving back to your home, and so that was what shame was about. And then, get some more. It's just like, I want more of this rock and roll lifestyle. I want more. I want to be on all the time, and that was why we had that. But all those songs stayed within that. The next record, we have a newer song called One Nation that we just got drums back from Zach last night, and they sound amazing. And we have to get AJ on it, Andrew James, and then we're going to get in on Friday and start, dialing it in. I've already done the vocals for it. I may go hit it again once we get everything dialed in again, because I want to do the exact same thing, but even better. But and that's pretty much going to be the cohesiveness of this next record. But the cool thing is we did a full acoustic record of Justified too with Kim Richardson. She's a phenomenal singer up here, and her and I was on acoustic guitar, and she was singing with me, and it was very beautiful. So we're mixing that right now too. So you'll have two different versions of Justified, and video too. There's tons of video, which I'm happy about. We got our team there shooting and all that. So it's gonna be fun, man. I'm just trying to stay busy.
Yeah, you have to nowadays, man. It's wild. It's wild out there.
That's for
now,
sure, man.
Lastly, with this album, because there was so many new vocal ranges for you, and there was so many different dynamics with this record, you also touched on vulnerability aspects with your writing. How did that impact your actual singing? Like, did you find yourself having to relearn how to sing just because it was more of a vulnerable, more of a personal kind of topic?
Oh yeah. What comes in is, I've been an actor for a long time. And so when you get great scripts or you're reading something, you have to kind of take yourself there every single time. Same when you write your own songs. And that was why I started diving into music a lot more, because it's more personal. You know, you get sent scripts of, hey, I want you to do this or that. Cool. Definitely. I'll make it happen. But there's a thing when you write your own songs or you collaborate with another amazing songwriter, and you bond on such a beautiful level. It's a spiritual level of just pure balance and synergy. And then when you add in rock guitars and drums and all the other stuff, it's amazing. But before I sing the song, I try to give myself at least a phrase or something, or something that will trigger me to get into that world, just so it becomes as authentic as possible, rather than just spouting out words like la 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 la. Like it needs to have some meaning behind it. So I have these places I go between each song that allows me to project and get there. And when you have that and you're locked in, everything comes to fruition. But it's all the training and all the stuff before it gets you that one position. It's like getting ready for a basketball game or something like that. Like you put the time into it if you want to slam dunk. So that's how I look at it. And you nailed it on the head, man. You know, you got to get yourself there, because that's what the fans are paying for. They want to have an experience, you know. So escapism plays a lot into that for sure.
I feel like that's a danger zone as well. If it's like certain topics that it took you a long time to get over that hump, but going back into it, like, do you feel like it affects you, or do you feel like it's more of a therapy session because you get to release this out to an audience of people that probably went through the same experiences?
You always want to try to have a on and off button, you know, but some things linger, and you got to write them out, and you got to understand that it's part of the journey, being a journeyman, and part of the process of being a creative. You know, you're taking these emotional, spiritual, you know, very dangerous situations, and you're putting them into 3 minutes, you know, on top of, you know, the full set, right? So individually, every 3 minutes, you got to deliver the essence of why you wrote it, you know, because it needs to come off with people like, what just happened? Yes. And then that's when they're there. And they're like, oh my God, I felt that. And I'm like, oh wow, that's what I love. Like after, or when somebody calls you after listening to one of your songs or something, and they're just like, thank you. Like, I get it. I understand. I feel this, and this is why. And they tell you their story. You got a homie, you have a bond for life. You have something that's like unbreakable, you know, and that's a cool part about what we do, is that we get that opportunity, but it has to fly, has to go. You have to be connected to it, you know, not just you, to the band. The band has to be connected to it too, man. You know, everyone has to be feeling almost the exact same thing, you know, so it's powerful stuff, man. And I love doing it, you know, wouldn't do anything else.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations with this record, man. Like I said, I'm loving every single track. You don't seem like a singles guy. You seem like an album guy, and that's really rare today. So, so keep that going.
He's like, dude, when's the record coming, man? Like, I'm like, all right, yeah, we got all these things out there. We're trying. No, bring the record. Yeah, we like the beginning, the middle, and the end, all 3 acts.
Exactly. Well, I look forward to seeing what this looks like live whenever that is possible. But thank you again for taking the time to do this, and thank you again for creating such a masterpiece.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having this amazing platform for us, and thank you for doing what you're doing too, because this is magical. You know, this really helps us a lot, connecting with everybody and opening up the storyline to why, you know, rather than just words on a page.
You just know how to say things no matter what you're talking about.
Gifted, bro. Gifted. All the things.
Oh man.